You are listening to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast, where each week we have a conversation with everyday martial arts practitioners. From the first motivation to train, martial arts enriches our lives and becomes a lifestyle. Welcome to the individual stories of those martial artists living that lifestyle. You are listening to the abbreviated version. For those of you checking this out on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Full-length versions of this podcast can be subscribed to at our Patreon page, is www.patreon.com/malmag. Or individual full-length episodes can be purchased at our Gumroad page at malmag.gumroad.com. Before we begin this week's program, I would like to remind you to check out martialartslifestylemagazine.com to see articles on the martial arts. Click on the store tab to find products for the practice of Southeast Asian martial arts, featuring Timmy B's brand sticks. Check out the courses tab, currently featuring a course on the Dos Manos method of the Filipino martial arts. Also check out our Places to Train page, featuring top quality martial art academies from around the world. And of course, check out our events page for seminars and events coming up around the world. To see your school listed in our Places to Train page or your event on our events calendar, contact us at malmagonline@gmail.com. This week I get on Zoom and I connect to New York City and I talk with my good friend Luigi Cuellar. We talk about how he got started in the martial arts, how he went from musician to martial artist. A very interesting story of training in Tang Soo Do, but getting a black belt in Taekwondo. A funny story of coming back to a New York instructor in the Inosanto circles. On becoming a teacher and having a successful business and partnership with Alex Chan for almost 3 decades now, and much more. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast. And this week I am on Zoom and I'm connecting to New York, and I'm connecting with a gentleman that I've actually known for quite some time. I want to say that I first met him actually in the first year that I was at the Inosanto Academy, because the first Legends camp I went to was 2005. And I remember seeing this gentleman there, and it was kind of cool because he was like the helper guy for a lot of stuff. So he was the uke, the guy getting beaten on by like Sifu Francis and Ajarn Chai. And so, you have a lot of respect when you're kind of looking at, well, first of all, for anyone who's doing that kind of thing anyway, but the guys that are really kind of putting their body up for the rest of us to learn, you have a great respect. And then I just kept seeing you around a lot. So So it's been it's been like 20 years that I've kind of known you now, or known of you anyway. Luigi Cuellar, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And you're someone I've been bugging for a while to get on here. We finally figured it out.
Yeah, it's been a while since you mentioned that. But thinking back, it actually was 20 years ago, man. You're absolutely right. I remember that specific camp.
Yeah, that was a good one. I remember that one being a lot of fun. It was kind of a hot summer. I remember it being really hot. Because I remember I was getting like heat rash on my knees from the gi from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But I remember having a great time. My good buddy Peter Newton was my training partner, and he's from the UK. He's a Larry Hartzell guy, and I'd been training obviously with Larry at that point and helped him train Peter and some of the other guys from the UK. So we'd kind of known each other. So we partnered up real quick, and just that was a fun camp. I remember that one quite well. That's one that sticks out in my mind a lot. So let's get started with you. Like, when and where did you get interested in martial arts?
Oh, geez, like most people, Bruce Lee. In 1970, I went to see a Bruce Lee movie, and from then on, I was just hooked. And to make a long story short, I started in Nishigo-Juru, and right after I saw the movie, and Bruce Lee dies. I started in 71, and then he dies in the like mid 73. So when he dies, that ended my world right there. I was so under the belief that I was going to train martial arts and someday be able to be Bruce Lee's student, that when the guy dies, it just totally shut me down. And I got out of martial arts. I quit martial arts. We moved to California, and I became a musician for 16 years. I was a percussionist.
You've got that kind of vibe to you. I should have asked you that a long time ago.
Yeah.
You have a musician vibe to you.
Yeah, I was actually a musician in Las Vegas and in Hollywood. I was a Hollywood studio musician for a while also. And it was because those were my two loves, music and martial arts. And when the martial arts came to an abrupt end with Bruce Lee's death, I had like a stack of magazines of Bruce Lee that would be worth $250,000 now because it was up to my,
Oh,
and I gave them all away. I gave them all
no.
away. Oh yeah, we're talking the first ones, first
Oh my
articles on
God.
Bruce Lee. All these magazines were 1970, 1971, 1972. And he died, and I remember specifically giving it to a friend of mine, and I was almost in tears when I gave it to him. But then I stopped and I got out of it for all those years that I was in music, but still loving the martial arts. But obviously, moving to California became like a combative. The combativeness came back organically because we moved into a gang neighborhood,
Wow.
and since I wasn't part of a gang, I was like a target in school, in the streets, everywhere. So it just became constant fighting. And I thought that the year and a half that I had done of martial arts training and the movies that I had seen of Bruce Lee had turned me into a martial artist already. So I was like, I was down to fight all the time, everywhere, but I didn't really have a choice because it was either fight or just sit there and get beaten, beaten, miserably. So after doing after staying like that in LA, I
What
moved.
was the neighborhood you lived in?
I lived actually in South San Gabriel.
South San Gabriel.
San
Okay.
Gabriel Valley, and it was Rosemead.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Rosemead. So,
I know the
yeah,
area now. Have you been back to see it since anytime you come
yes,
out to visit? Yeah.
yes. I went back to see it, and I was in shock because many years after that, I remember John Spezzano telling me when he found out about it, he goes, "Oh man, that's the ghetto." He goes, "Well, you used to live in the ghetto," and I go, "Well, it was close to it, but it wasn't a ghetto." I go back there last year, and I could not believe my eyes. They completely ran all the gangs out. There is now one graffiti. The school that I went to was all just gangs and ambulances every day and cops every day. And the school now is a charter school with all these awards neck on the outside that it's won. So it's
Wow.
amazing. The neighborhood that I lived in looks immaculate. It's beautiful. I've never seen. I think it's a $1,000 fine for littering. There was
Wow.
signed $1,000 fine for littering. So I was like, what happened here? What did they do with these people? For real. But you got to
Yeah.
think 40 years later. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah. Well,
40
it's
years.
interesting because I train some motorcycle guys, and so there's a big motorcycle culture out of there. There's, I want to say they're like Mongol affiliates,
The
and
Mongols?
yeah, yeah. So I train a group that is they're not Mongols. They are a bunch of guys who are just more like business guys, like one's like a plumber and one's a landscaping guy and one guy like helps write government grants. So these are guys who like to ride bikes, but when you're doing that with any kind of club patch on your back, you've got to have a relationship, with with the guys that are going to beat your ass out there,
Yeah,
and you kind of want their
yeah.
permission. So I've been in and amongst that part of town with those larger groups like the Mongols for charity events, like for
Mm.
the Christmas toy run and a couple of things that they did kind of for members who like lost somebody and they were just raising some money. So I've been in and around. Yeah, it's an interesting part of town, no doubt.
Totally different though. It looks
Yeah,
beautiful. It looks beautiful. I couldn't believe my eyes. I took pictures of everywhere and I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, what a transformation. You'd never think that could happen there,
yeah.
as bad as it was.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's a good thing. It's good. Well, good that you survived it, and then good that it's changed.
Yeah. Well, it was it was something that after I and later on in life that I thought, wow, I had to sit there and fight. It was something that was so beneficial to what I've been doing for the past 30 years because teaching martial arts and not knowing what it is to really fight or to really, I mean, I got hospitalized twice
Ooh,
from the beatings of multiple guys. I mean, they were like I was 12 years old the first time that I got jumped by the Crips, and it was like five guys, and I literally woke up and I was unconscious, and there's a stranger over me telling me not to move because there's an ambulance on the way. That's how bad it was. And I spent, 12 days
Wow.
in the hospital.
Wow.
So I think that all of that past really had it was supposed to happen to make me, just a better instructor, and know the combative arts, so have a different, deeper understanding of what it is to really, really fight.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a hell of a thing for a 12-year-old, because I think 12 years old is like how old I was when I got involved in martial art, and it wasn't like I was getting jumped by 4 or 5 guys. That's not,
Oh no.
I had
Yeah.
bullies, but I didn't have gangs of people beating me
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah. No, and the school was a nightmare from the first day. It was literally like a prison term. I'm not kidding you. It was the most horrible time of my life. It really was. And but yet it's become, in the past, by thinking about it, like I said, it's become something that I found an appreciation for it after time, that it happened for a reason, and now I'm like so happy that it did. Of course,
Yeah,
when something that is over, you can feel good about it.
that's right.
It's over.
That's true. Yeah, it's a character building thing if you make it through it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I made it.
That's good. So, at what point did you get back into martial art then? I mean, did you, how long did you stay? Was it in California, or is it when you went
It was
back east?
no, it was I left California, and I moved to New York in March of 1985, because this was just my 40th year anniversary of moving here to New York. And in 1987 was when a friend of mine, we were just talking about martial arts, and he knew that I loved martial arts, but that I wasn't currently doing it. And he asked me if I wanted to do some Muay Thai. So then I went to see his instructor, which was British and American champion Phil Nurse, Muay Thai fighter. And I took a couple. I went to see it, and then I was drawn into it. And after like two classes, this guy Victor tells me that in the Smokey Mountain Camp, he goes, "Do you know who Dan Inosanto is?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "Man, that was the guy that Bruce Lee chose. That's supposed to be the top Jeet Kune Do guy." And I go, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, him and a bunch of instructors are going to be at this camp." I immediately, to make a long story short, I signed up, and I went to the Smoky Mountain Camp in 1987. And
Damn.
I met everybody and their mother at that camp. Everybody that became somebody, and the guys that have been washed up and forgotten were there, but the ones that are still around, I met Ajarn Chai. Everybody was there. Ajarn Chai, Francis Fong, Graciela Casillas, Cliff Lenderman, Paul Brunak, Guro Dan. I mean, I could go on. Everyone was there, and it freaked me out so much to see so much of that it took me till 1993, because I did go up to Guro Dan, and I told Guro Dan that I wanted to be an instructor under him the very first time that I see this guy. He looked at me like, "Who the hell is this guy? I've never seen you before in my life, and you're telling me
And
you
I've
want to be
never
an..."
heard this before. I've never had strangers come up and say this ever before. You're the first.
So you know what he tells me? He tells me, "Get yourself a black belt." He goes, "Get yourself a black belt." And I go, "In what system?" And he goes, "Any system. Just get a black belt." And I go, "Okay." So I did exactly that. And I didn't actually, it was weird, because when he told me that, I didn't sign up in a school or anything. I just thought, what system was I going to study? I figured that I would find a school. And a guy runs into me at the gym, and he starts to talk to me because he saw how, I mean, I was really in great shape. At that time, I was in the best shape of my life, I think. And he comes up to me and he tells me, "Have you done martial arts before?" A Korean guy, but really broken English. And I go, "Yeah, when I was a little kid, I did it for a while." And he goes, "I teach you." I go, "You teach me?"
Oh,
And he goes, "I teach you." And I go, "Where's your school?" And he goes, "No school." And I go, so I thought, okay, this guy's freaking me out. He's a little weird here. Strange, yeah, strange out of nowhere, just looks at you and he says, "I'll teach you." And I said, he goes, "My house, Tang Sudo." And I go, "Okay, where's
so
that
come
from?"
to
And
a stranger's house. Yeah, that was
yeah, so yeah, I thought that was weird, to be honest with you. I was very careful when I went the first time, but it was a modern day. I'm not kidding you when I tell you it was like a modern day Karate Kid. One guy with me, and he told me I didn't have to pay him. All I had to do was help out and clean, and rake the leaves in front of the co-op, whatever I needed to do. Yeah, I said, "I'll do whatever. I'll clean the floor. I'll do your dishes." whatever it is, because after the first lesson, I saw that he was serious. And I thought it was just, the universe, giving me an instructor. So,
Yeah.
dude, I trained with this guy for almost 6.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And he tells me that to get I was a black belt level. He goes, "You're black belt." I go, "Yeah, but I don't have the belt. You're calling me a black belt, but I don't have a belt." And it was after all those years of training. He never gave me a belt. I was just training and training. He goes, "You're black belt level now." And I go, "Yeah, but I'd like to have a belt." I'm thinking, I got to show Guro Dan a belt. I can't just tell him some guy says I'm a black belt, because
Right.
I didn't conceive that. So he goes, I take you to my cousin's school and you could get a black belt. I was like, how? I mean, I was so like taken from this guy. He takes me to this Taekwondo school that supposedly his cousin owns. And the agreement was made that I had to take all the belt tests, white, yellow, orange, green, blue, all the way, all the belt
Wow.
tests, one per month. And then after that, he would test me for black belt. It was strictly a money thing. This guy every month, yeah, every month, all I had to do was learn their forms, because the forms had a slight difference from the
Right.
way
Right.
I was used to doing them. So every month I took a test for 13 months straight, or 12 months. I don't remember. That was 35 years ago, something like that. And then he tested me for black belt the month after I tested the last belt. And I passed that black belt test. I mean, it was amazing. I did such a great job. People were coming up to me and asking me, if I was going to open up a school, right after that, which I didn't. But a couple of years after that, I started by just demand people just reaching out to me, started teaching out of my own garage. And then in 1997 was when I opened NuBreed Martial Arts Academy with Alex. So
Wow. Wow.
until
Wow.
now, been together until now.
That's okay. That's great. Yeah, that we definitely have to get into. But I want to go back just a little bit. So that was really kind of a cool story. Let me jump back to the Muay Thai that you said you did in 1985. That is really like rare in that time period. Like Muay Thai is not
Very,
exactly something that was spread around that
very,
much in 1985. So that was
yeah,
kind of a
very.
rare gem.
Yeah, it was. And the reason why I went to the guy to begin with is because my friend told me, "Have you heard of the black new breed? The black Bruce Lee." And I was like, "The black Bruce Lee? No, I haven't heard of him." And he goes, "This guy, you got to see him. He's amazing. His speed and his talent." And the truth was that when I went to see Phil, I was very impressed with him, because he was just man, he was a talent. The guy was like the real deal. I was so impressed at his Muay Thai and the power that he had in his kicks and the speed. I didn't think that he was a black Bruce Lee by far, but yeah, not at all. But I like the Muay Thai. His Muay Thai came from Master Sken in England.
Okay.
That was his instructor, and he was a British champion, and then he became American champion also.
Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. I've interviewed a lot of people from the UK, and what's fascinating is kind of listening to them talking about what was available to them. Like for us in America, what was available to us. You and I are, I think, very close in age. So what was available to us in the 70s and 80s, when we went out looking for martial arts, was different than those in the UK. Like, we had Taekwondo or Tang Soo, karate, judo. So basically, all your Korean and Japanese stuff was available because probably because all the servicemen, that were stationed in those areas that learned it. Now in the UK, they had all this like Chinese martial art, Southeast Asian martial art that was in there that we didn't have. But I think that was a product of that being part of the British Empire. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had,
Well,
immigration in
yeah.
that way.
In the 70s, I mean, when I started, there wasn't even Taekwondo or anything else, man. There was literally just karate. It was
Yeah.
just plain karate. And the very first school that I went to was so old style that the windows were blacked out. You could not see nothing in. It was just
Oh
blacked out
wow.
windows, and it just said karate. Not style, not anything. It doesn't say discipline, respect, all those, nothing. It just said karate. That's all.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it would have been too confusing to people back then, I think, to throw all the ruse and the
Yeah. Oh
styles
yeah.
on there. People are like, what is all this,
Yeah,
wordplay?
it
But
was too confusing. Nowadays, it's like nowadays the styles are like, oh my God, it's just everything is out there for everybody, and they don't know what they have compared to when we were growing up and there was
oh
nothing
my
around.
God, yeah. Yeah, it's
Nothing.
it's amazingly diverse and easy
Yeah.
to access. Yeah. So your black belt then that you got through 12 months of hard work and training and
Yeah. 12 months of doing
through testing. I mean,
maintenance
you had more
time.
training, but yeah, that was quite a gauntlet.
Yeah,
Sounds like.
and the belt that I got, the style that I studied for all those years was Tang Sudo, and the belt that I got was
Was
from the
taekwondo.
Taekwondo school.
Yeah, it's
And I,
interesting.
all I did was learn the forms. But when I fought in my black belt test, what it just I felt, and everybody noticed that I was so much more efficient and better because I mean I had been trained by one guy, and the guy that taught me, the reason why he could not have a school and the reason why he could not get me certified is because he had taught the North Korean army and he defected to South
Oh,
and from
gotcha.
South Korea. And from South Korea, he came to the US. And from the US, he didn't have his name on anything or anything anywhere because he was afraid that they were still looking for him to kill him because he
Oh yeah,
defected. So
yeah,
this guy told me that he could not give me a certificate, he could not give me a belt, he could not give me anything that had his name on it. So that's why I
wow.
didn't do anything. And I was just training under this guy. And then when I found out that I could go to a school and get an actual belt, listen, if he would have told me it was capoeira, I would have taken a belt in whatever because I had been waiting for so many years. I wanted a belt in something because I couldn't go back to Guru and say, Guru, I'm a black belt, but I don't have the belt. My
Yeah,
instructor says I'm a black belt. So in my mind, even though Guru never asked me for the stupid belt, that I would never show it to him. But in my
right,
mind, I needed something. I needed proof in case he asked me, a
right. Yeah.
certificate. I didn't have nothing.
It's interesting, and yeah, I don't think he was ever looking for you to come back with that as your entry thing, but there was for the longest time, my understanding, especially talking to a lot of the old school people, is that kind of was the unspoken requirement to get in the
Yeah,
door was to
yeah,
have this traditional martial art experience to a particular level before you came in because they didn't want
right,
to spend time to discipline your ass. You needed
right,
to have
right.
some discipline coming in.
Right, right, right. You're absolutely right because when I go back to Guru Dan, oh man, this is funny. This is in 1995. No, 93. 93, I go see Guru and I saw him in Canada. I went to go see him. As soon as I found out that he was anywhere, I went to the first place that I could see him. And I go see him over there in Montreal. And I walk up to him and I go, "Hi, Guru, how are you?" And he goes, "Hey, how you doing?" And I go, "You remember me?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he looks at me like I could tell he remember. We only met one time in the Smoky Mountain Camp. He goes, "Yeah, how you doing?" I could tell that he was such a warm, nice person. But get this, he's like fixing all his papers on the floor. He's like one knee down and one foot up, and he's like fixing the papers. And I go, "I got the black belt that you told me to get." And he goes, and he looks up at me and he goes, "Oh, you did? Good." And I go, "Yeah."
And this concludes the abbreviated version of the podcast. Please consider supporting the program by going to www.patreon.com/malmag and subscribing to the show. You can also purchase this individual episode or any individual episode at our Gumroad page. That's malmag.gumroad.com. Thank you for listening to this episode with Luigi Cuellar. Coming up next week, I connect to Texas and I talk to a badass lady, Linda Tenberg. Our Malmag online store at martialartslifestylemagazine.com has a full selection of Timmy B's brand sticks for FMA and Krabi Bong. Timmy B's brand now selling in Japan as well. Beautiful Timmy B's brand shirts and Dos Manos shirts are available. We also have sarongs, malongs, and wooden training knives. An online course in the Dos Manos method for FMA is available under the Courses tab. More courses coming soon. Check out the Places to Train tab to find schools near you, and click on the events calendar page to see what seminars and events are happening all around the world. And of course, visit our main page for articles on the martial arts. Music by Arthur J. Martial Arts Lifestyle Magazine and the Martial Arts Lifestyle Podcast are trademarked and copyrighted by TNT LLC.